Hey everybody, welcome into the T26 channel where we talk about all things related to the US men's national team. And today we are fortunate enough to have JD from We Max It Football sit down and have a conversation around CONCACAF, the US men's national team, World Cup qualifying, and more. We're going to break this up into a couple of different parts, so stay tuned as we're going to release each part throughout the week. Before we get into it, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. I'm not going to ask during the conversation with JD, so please hit like and subscribe now. And with that being said, let's get into it. When looking at the World Cup, we talked about the lesser well-known teams that might not get to qualify.
Mhm.
They're coming in. What about the fact that the World Cup is played across 3 different countries now? Do you like that, or would you prefer it to be there's one host nation like it has traditionally been?
Good question. For me, I thought if it was in America alone, it would have been okay. If it was in Mexico alone, it would have been okay. I I am not sure if it could have been in Canada alone. I think maybe it would have been a little bit more challenging. Yes, but I think it could have been in one country rather than three, in my opinion. But I guess they are the World Cup and they know to try to sell things, and maybe they wanted to boost the entire CONCACAF region. And which better way to do it rather than to go all of the places at once? So America, Mexico, and Canada would be all eyes on it. I think that's what they are trying to target, rather than the ease for people to choose whatever games in one country. I think that would have been slightly easier on my side, just one country, but I
Mhm.
could see what they're doing. Like, for instance, they are not looking for travels only, they are looking for eyeballs a lot more. So they
Mhm.
want more eyeballs, so all people in Mexico would take more part on TV rights, Canada the same, and then United States the same. But
Yeah.
maybe one country would have brought in more plane tickets, but maybe less interest via TV rights, and also even individuals as well, because inside America it's a little bit challenging to get there based on what I'm seeing. I don't know, because maybe I'm a Belgian person, or I have a Belgian passport because I'm a Jamaican born, but I have a Belgian passport. Maybe it's easier for me to come there, but maybe someone direct from Mexico is more challenging. So you
Mhm.
don't know. So I think maybe it actually saves them in the end, but for me, I think it should have just been one country.
Yeah, I can understand that, and you're absolutely right. FIFA is looking for eyeballs, and the more that they can spread the game, the better. If if I'm looking at it in terms of where the World Cup has been, right? It was here in the US in 94. 2025 feels like a fairly quick turnaround compared to other nations that have hosted. I think that maybe without combining with Mexico and Canada, it might not have come back quite
Correct.
so
Yeah.
early. But this is additional exposure. We get to host with Mexico and with Canada, so it's their first time in quite some time, and they get to capitalize on the eyeballs of the United States and the sheer size, but also they're increasing the American interest by saying you are also a host nation. You're going to have all of these games in your country instead of just across the border, whether it's north or south. So would you
Okay.
potentially, just playing a little bit of the game there? But yeah, do you think going forward, like if we're looking at South America, Central America, Europe, would it be y- would that make the travel harder if we're talking multiple nations in other continents?
No, in Europe it would be very easy, because Belgium, France, you can just drive across, so it's not even a big deal. It would have been extremely
Mhm.
easy for Belgium to pull it off. I think in South America is just maybe like Argentina and those places. Maybe you would have tried to use other countries, but I think Brazil did it on its own, so Brazil could again. Yeah, so I don't think they're gonna always use the three-team thingy,
Mhm.
three countries thingy. I think they're just gonna use this as a one-off, and if it comes back again, they have data on it to say it's possible to do. But I don't think it's going to be a common thing.
Okay. I if you're thinking like if it justifies it or if there's a smaller country that we can attach to. And because you're right, going across different countries in Europe, it is easier. It's not as
Mhm, mhm.
spread out. I did learn that when I was over there, and spent some time in Belgium, and I felt a little bit silly because I didn't speak the language. I was like, everybody here speaks multiple languages, and
In
the
Belgium, yeah.
the family that I was with said, well, imagine if you border Kansas, Illinois, multiple other states. If everybody spoke a different language, you'd probably pick up one or two.
Yes,
I'm
you
like,
you you got
okay,
to. You got to.
okay, I can understand that. So I felt a little bit better, but so that would be a good thing too. But traditionally, you're thinking it's probably going to go back to one host nation.
Yes, yes, because you have to look at it like this. Mexico is a football country.
Hmm.
You understand me?
Yep.
So you can't find so much small football country in Europe to say that you're gonna match it with France and you're gonna match it with something else. And that's why I think they won't repeat it. Mexico is a
Mhm.
football country, but and the CONCACAF has two head bases, which is the United States and Mexico. And then you have the Canada just on the rise, and Canada is a good location as well. So I think it's good to do it this way because they're trying to showcase something. But
Yeah.
in Europe, I don't think Europe needs that boost. Belgium is
Yeah.
already good at football, one of the best education in football. France is one of the best football team on planet Earth. Croatia and those smaller countries, they are good at football development, but not big enough to really host the World Cup overall. So, and they're not going to bring so much things, and FIFA is all about money. So it's hard for me to see them forced to get it um, in Croatia. I think they will force to get it in Mexico because they are sure that they're going to get the crowd support, and obviously you're going to have others on it. So the triple thing works mainly because it's in this region.
Okay. I get that. I understand that.
Mhm.
I think we're in the middle of a very unique opportunity for FIFA, for the World Cup, for CONCACAF as a region to really capitalize and showcase, the depth of the region and what's there. So I'm really excited about that. Let's look at a little bit more of your focus within CONCACAF. I know
Mhm.
you focus on Jamaica and Suriname pretty closely, and you've
Yeah.
mentioned Curacao a couple of times. What have you seen from their teams in qualifying that has made them really strong? Are they performing to the level that you expected? Overperforming, underperforming? Sure, just give me some thoughts there because I don't see them as much.
Okay, okay. Well, it's good. It's good. It's good. That's why I'm here. So Jamaica, you would say Jamaica, when Jamaica got the draw, they got the easiest draw. They got Trinidad and Tobago, Curacao, and Bermuda in their group. So everyone said that it was an easy draw for Jamaica based on what you know about the dual nuts and everything. Yes, but people never knew about the situation in Jamaica, where in which it's kind of a pushback by federation and stuff of forcing a quota system. So they don't know the complexity in order to select a team in Jamaica. But aside from that, they have lost one. They won three, so they are on 9 points.
Mhm.
The performances wasn't the best, to be honest. The first two that they won, they weren't as good. But you could say that Leon Bailey, Damara Gray, Andre Blake, Ethan Pinnock, Bobby Reed, they all weren't there. Mikel Antonio, they all weren't there. They had to make a makeshift team. So, but it's still strong enough because you still had Amari Bell, Dexter Lembikisa in the team, so it still kind of add some things, and they got the 6 points. So I was saying yes, that is nice, and they did went to Curacao, and the first 25 minutes they were horrible. Curacao walked past Jamaica, never understood what was actually taking place, but they got it together and looked better. I am not 100% sure if it was on Jamaica or it's because Curacao already leading and maybe had something to protect why they dropped off, because they were so dominant in the first 25 minutes. You can't be so dominant and then so bad in the next 40 to 50 minutes. So I want to say it was a bit of both. Jamaica got better, got understand the artificial turf a lot more, and but also Curacao had something to hold on to, so they sat back a lot, and made Jamaica come at them, and that's how they actually got the next goal as well, because it was easier, because now you're up the pitch, so they can use their quick technical ability and pass through you. And they did that all through the night, even when Jamaica had their advantage, and they were passing through Jamaica the whole entire night. So I am. It's mixed feelings. I've said all of that to say this is mixed feelings, because I don't know which Jamaica will present itself. I don't know the selection. Just like America, you could say, all right, we know that Pulisic will play. We know that this will play. Even today, you don't know who will be playing for Jamaica,
Hmm.
even if you see the 23, because you will see the 23 and you have a very good player on it at club level, and you swear think that player has to play. There's no possible chance that player doesn't play. And then you see a little kid that you don't even know, and he's on the field, and you're wondering how that makes sense.
Hmm. Why is that?
Yes.
I mean, you said there's a little pushback between the federation and the players, and you get
Yes.
guys that you don't know coming in or on the in the 11. What's going on? Why is that? Because you named some big
the
names: Leon
the
Bailey, Damari Gray. Like, those are ballers.
the best way to work it on the land, we're very prideful people, and we want to establish a football hub to say that we can produce footballers.
Hmm.
You have several people of that sort works in the federation as well. They run clubs, are connected to clubs, but they work in the federation as well. It's very hard for their players to get profiled when you bring in already profiled players.
Mm,
So there is no room for them to get established. So they believe that they can't be seen. So I think that's how quota system comes in, because they believe that their leagues in the country will die if we just get all the support from England.
okay.
So
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. So they might they kind of they hid it over the last 2 months to say it's not a quota system, but I still believe it is a quota system, because
Okay.
the selection just doesn't make any sense. And that's
Mhm.
the difference with Suriname and Curacao. And maybe that's why I kind of like them so much, because I know Jamaica can be great. I know, but you have to make the sacrifice to make it great, and that sacrifice is to get the best players, even when you think it might actually cost your growth, because it's not going to cost your growth. They're just slightly impatient for their own pockets. That's a problem.
Yes. So
They're
it's the
just
internal.
pretending.
Yeah.
Yes, they are just pretending, but I'm telling you, this Jamaica team over the last two World Cup cycles could have been massively better. It's just the way the federation is run, and that is the
Mm,
biggest problem. And that's why I
okay.
have to commend Curacao and Suriname and other nations that's just going out there and trying to get everyone to come. They are really making everything work. I still congratulate Jamaica for still getting some of these dual nuts, but I'm saying that we need more than the 23. We need more than the 45. We just need to take everyone and get the best coach, find the right system, and evaluate who should come in through each window, like all the other teams that's making that big jump. So for
Yeah.
Jamaica, Curacao, they are in a tight battle. Jamaica is on 9, Curacao is on 8, and Trinidad and Tobago is on 5. But it's very tricky, because Trinidad
Mhm.
and Tobago can still qualify, and Jamaica can still come third as well. Bermuda is the only one that's out. So how it goes now, Jamaica has Trinidad and Tobago in Trinidad, and Trinidad and Tobago is a tough team in Trinidad, because they defeat even United States there. Yes,
Yes,
sad
they
to
did.
say, but
Oh,
they
sad.
did.
That hurts me still. Still. Oh, that
Yes,
hurts me
but
still, but
so
yes.
so Jamaica has two of their toughest games to play. So Curacao, that just defeated them, they have them on the final day, right? And Curacao has Bermuda. That could be a easier 3 points, because I think they are going to get the 3 points. So if Jamaica is not careful, they might go behind Curacao going into the final game, And what that says, Curacao could play for a draw just to make to the World Cup. So they have more options and they have more ways to set up. So I want Jamaica to go to Trinidad with their best squad and trying to win the game there. You understand me?
Yeah.
So that's the
Hmm.
situation at this point for that group, Curacao and those two teams, Curacao and Jamaica.
Interesting. Well, first, you're getting me right in the heart with going to Trinidad and hurting. Oh, that's
Well,
never gonna feel okay.
USA is a part of the story, and obviously
Yeah.
you told me to explain, and
Hmm.
I had to show you how complex it is to play
It
down there.
is.
You know, because the mighty United States lost down there.
Yeah. No, you're 100% right. It's always gonna hurt. It's always gonna hurt. When looking at Jamaica, since a lot of the focus was there, has anybody been on the team that's surprised you? You said, there's a lot of players that should get called in, but sometimes don't. And then there's some kids that
Hmm.
you see that you maybe don't recognize or they're new. Has anybody surprised you and forced their way into the roster and that you think has played themselves into the World Cup should they make it?
Well, Jamaica football team isn't set up like that for me to
Mm,
even say anyone played themselves in the team. All right, so but I might can do I might can still try. You have Bailey Kadamatri. He made it the last time Jamaica called him up. England called him up at the same time for the U19 level. Right, he
mm,
plays in the championship for Sheffield. You can check him out. Very very good player. He did score in the last game and creates all the opportunities for a bar one to defeat Trinidad and Tobago in the national stadium. So I would say Baylor Karamatri proved himself that he should get more game time. And then you have a kid plays left wing, right wing, and can play central forward as well. Tyrese Campbell. He actually plays for Charlton in the championship as well. So I would say that both of them deserve to be the main players for Jamaica at this moment. I
mhm,
do believe that Tyrese Campbell should be looked at a little bit different because what he offers was way more than Leon Bailey. And people that's listening, hear me out. The reason why I
okay.
said so, you have a left back, right back called Dexter Lemekisa. Comes from Wolves. He's our main right back, to be honest. He's our main right back because once he broke through the game against Lozana against Mexico, he
Mhm,
pretty much becomes that staple. So when Liam Bailey was there, Liam Bailey doesn't trap back. And Liam Bailey's worst game was against United States when United States dominated us in United States. And what Pochettino had said, and your left back, he is he Anthony
Anthony
Robinson.
Robinson. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
so Robinson had said that they knew that Liam Bailey wouldn't have come in to trap back as to stop the inverted wing back because Anthony Robinson came in as an inverted wing back and Liam Bailey never followed him and he made up the
Mm,
number inside and overload Jamaica and that's how they actually won the game. While now we have a hard playing tracking back winger, which is Tyrese Campbell. So I
mhm.
do believe that when he should get the opportunity and they should not play around with it because I think he can actually offer more than Leon Bailey in this national team. So those would be the two profile individual that
Mhm.
I would say should get more game time.
Okay. I think that's important, right? And maybe it's, given a certain situation, you start him in certain situation you do bring in Bailey depending on what the game calls for. You
Yes,
mentioned
yes.
the match that Anthony Robinson was kind of playing that inverted left wing back. That was
Hmm.
the Nations League in November
Hmm. Hmm.
of yeah, I was actually at that game here
Yeah.
in St. Louis. Oh, it was good to see us play well. Had a lot of hope, had a lot of fight. Unfortunately, things did not stay that way. We've had a little bit of a downturn and struggled to find our form again since then. But that was a good camp for us for sure.
Well, They lose some and they win some
Yeah,
because
absolutely,
they lost
absolutely.
in Trinidad, they beat
Yes.
Jamaica, you know, so you
Mhm.
lose some, you win some. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely, and I'm missing that version of Anthony Robinson. He's unfortunately not been healthy for the U.S. men's national team for probably since March of this
Hmm.
year in the Nations League, and then he had the knee surgery over the summer, and he's still coming back from that. He's not 100% healthy. He's playing, making his way back with club, and was called into camp, this October window, but it wasn't meant to be for him to get on the field. But hopefully, I will prioritize health over friendlies at this point. We know he
Hmm.
belongs in the team. We know he belongs in the 11. So if we can see some depth there, I'm okay with it. Whether we're playing Arfston, who I'm not the biggest fan of, especially when we had him as a true left back, that exposed him. Going forward as a left wing back, he does bring a little bit more to the table, but also looking at Timothy Weah potentially playing that left wing back spot.
Oh,
I'm open to
ooh.
that. Were you able to catch anything? Were you able to see that from him?
Yes, I think Timothy Weah, he has the capability of doing it because of his level of composure that he has. He's a good player. He's a very good player. I think he could do so. But I think United States have so much options. I think they have to keep him forward because he does offer something forward, you know.
Hmm.
So the wing back I think might be a little bit deeper for him. But
Yeah.
if they want to change their formation and they said this is where he's going to play, and be a part of the build up rather than the final entries, I have no problem with it. I think he will do that because I think he's a team player. I really like him. I really like him. Others might in the United States fan base might not really take tea to him, but I do like him. Think he's a good talent.
Yeah, I like him. I like him quite a bit. I think like you said, he's a team player. If we needed him to play as the right wing, which he had for so long, he was willing to do it. If he needed to drop and be our right back, he would do it. If he's moved over to left back, he's never said no. That's not my game. He's gonna give it a shot. He's gonna give everything and make it work. I think you're right. He does offer quite a bit going forward. He's got such a quick release on his shot. We saw that in the October window. It was a shot from distance. It didn't go in, but I was not expecting a shot. Just instant release from him. I think that's very valuable if we do have everybody healthy, which unfortunately, going into a World Cup or going into any tournament, you rarely have everyone healthy. This change in
Hmm.
formation that we're seeing now with a back three, a 3-4-2-1, he may be out of that starting 11 because we
Hmm.
have, Serginho Dest as our right wing back. We have Anthony Robinson as our left wing back. And you know, Pulisic's going to be our left wing, and we may have Tillman drop in as that 10 as the other attacker, and then Balogun up top. So where does Weah fit? Is he a depth piece, or does he go up on the wing and complement somebody? I don't know, but having him available and having him be a potential, I don't want to call him a depth piece because I think he's more than that, but a versatile player who can go and play four different positions for us and contribute at a high level. I think that's incredibly valuable.
Yes, I do think it's valuable, and at the same time, with the back three, it actually, depending on what striker he wants to use, Policy could easily become a striker. Way could be a striker in the same system, so don't count them out for the central position as well,
Mhm.
because less physicality on the next team, they can play a fluid system. So I think it gives them more option, and that's the only good thing. You want competition for places in your team at all times. And I think those are the teams that always won. You saw City, Liverpool, every one of them. You always heard some infighting of competition for places because top players has to even excel further because someone is there waiting to take their game. So if Weah has to be rivaling someone else for a position, that person has to kick it further. So the team will benefit when you have situations like that. But it's a good problem to have, that level of quality. Talking about Timothy Weah, if he's going to go on the bench or if he's going to be starting, he would have been starting in almost every single team in the rest of CONCACAF.
Yeah, yes, yeah. It's a very good problem to have, and something that I'm not mad about it because it could potentially be pushing Weston McKennie, who has been a staple in our lineup,
Hmm.
maybe to a different position. We saw him play as one of those dual tens
Mm-hmm.
in this camp. That's not necessarily his strong suit. And Tyler Adams he's one of our sixes for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Tanner Tessman's been playing really well for Lyon. Weston didn't get a look at that position. So what does that say? Again, it's a good problem to have. We're talking about champagne problems here, and
Yes.
I'm not upset about it.
It just what it tells me, he has in the system, he has some staples that he wants to use, but that's going to offset some of the actual big name players, because Western McKinney is a big name player for Western McKinney, might be the best player for USMNT the last 3 years. I think after the last 1.5 year, Pulisic, it's a tier that maybe no other American player have reached in its history. Maybe London, not London Donovan. Nah, 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 nah. The only player that I heard it's a stint like that. You are the player that played for Spurs. What's
Clint
his name
Dempsey.
again? Clint Dempsey. Clint Dempsey
Yes.
had a run that he was
Yes.
on back then, was special. But I
Yes.
still believe that Pulisic eclipsed that level. So he surpassed McKenny. So I just believe that it's just systems. Some players have to
Mhm.
come out, and if they're a team player, they once they do come in, they're gonna do their job. If you have McKenny on the bench and Way on the bench, we have to start talking about United States being a true problem. If they have to be on the bench and who's ever coming in the team, it's a true better player.
Yeah.
I think no, the United States becomes scary. Becomes
Yeah.
scary. Yes.
Yes. If we are, that's the world that we've been dreaming about for I don't even know how long, is to have a player of that quality not starting. That's something that really shows a transformation in the team and in the level. So, looking at that, some of the fans may be really upset. How do we have a guy who's worn the armband for Juventus not in
Mm-hmm.
our starting 11? Well, his form has gone up and down, and that happens with everybody, but I think he belongs. It just depends on what the game calls for, and understanding that a player like that not in your lineup, but on your bench, coming off your bench and able to contribute, it's a very good problem to have, right? I think there's certain levels that we see players who have gotten calls recently. I'm not the biggest fan of, right? I don't, and this is going to ruffle some feathers. Christian Roldan
Mm-hmm.
had an amazing game this week. He had
Yes.
2 assists, both very heads up plays. However, I don't think he should see the field very much for us. He may be great for the locker room. He may be fantastic when it comes to the effort and pushing players, but if we look at the depth chart, he's not touching the field for me if we're healthy. So if he's not on the roster, I don't have any heartburn over that. But if Weston's not on the roster, we're gonna have some heartburn. If a guy like Johnny can figure it out at Atletico Madrid, and he's not even considered, which his form for the U.S. has not been great, but if he's not considered, there's going to be some heartburn over that. Or if, Tanner or Tyler, there's Yunus Musa, who's contributed, not had the greatest form over the last 18 months, but we saw him contribute in the last World Cup, and he was part of that midfield that took it to an England squad that had a lot of quality. If he's not even considered, there's going to be some ruffling of feathers. So it's, where does that level sit? And I think that's something that we are still trying to figure out and we being Mauricio Pochettino and his coaching staff, because he's only had
So
a
the
year.
so the question is, you think that they're going to figure it out before the World Cup, or you think that it's going to be a challenge?
I think that it's going to be a challenge, and regardless of what direction
Mhm.
we go, some feathers are going to be ruffled, right? I think
Okay.
that we may see Yunus Musa and Johnny Cardoso find great form with their clubs, come in November or in March and look really good, and they play their way in. Well, then who falls out? If it's Weston or Christian Roldan, somebody's going to be unhappy. If they only look all right and Christian Roldan stays in,
somebody's going to be unhappy. What's the level? What do we need to rely on? And who offers the most? Are we taking a high potential Yunus Musa who may not see the field, or are we taking a wonderful locker room guy in Christian Roldan who may not see the field? What's the importance there? You know?
Okay, okay. Well, good problem stuff. I kind of like it, and that's where the pinnacle of CONCACAF is at this point. So I'm hoping that they can get it, because you do want everyone present the CONCACAF in the World Cup properly, you know. So I'm hoping that they do get it right. As you said, it's going to be a challenge. So let's see how it works out. I will keep an eye on the United States team, but definitely all eyes are actually on the qualifiers now, and I really like it. I really like it.
All right, everybody. That wraps up this portion of the conversation with JD. Leave a like and a comment in the comment section down below, and don't forget to check out his channel and all of his socials that are going to be in the description. Thanks, and we'll see you for the next part.